Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a point in your life when you have to stop asking yourself what you want and start asking yourself what you are willing to do to get it. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants the results. Everybody wants the body, the money, the confidence, the career, the business, the respect, the lifestyle, the opportunity, the victory. Everybody wants to look back one day and say, I made it. But very few people are willing to look at the price tag attached to that dream and say, I will pay it. And that is where discipline enters the conversation. Because discipline is the difference between what you say you want and what you are actually willing to work for. Discipline is the bridge between your potential and your performance. It is the force that gets you moving when motivation disappears. It is the voice that tells you to keep going when comfort tells you to stop. It is the decision to do what needs to be done, especially when nobody is forcing you to do it. And if you want to separate yourself from the crowd, understand this one principle: you have to be willing to do what others won't. Not because you are better than everybody else, not because you are more talented than everybody else, not because you were given some magical advantage that other people don't have. You separate yourself because you are willing to remain committed after other people lose interest. You are willing to wake up when other people sleep. You are willing to practice when other people scroll. You are willing to study when other people make excuses. You are willing to work when other people complain. You are willing to stay focused when other people get distracted. You are willing to continue when other people quit. That is the power of discipline. The world is full of people who have potential. The world is full of intelligent people. The world is full of talented people. The world is full of people with dreams. But potential does not guarantee results. Talent does not guarantee results. Intelligence does not guarantee results. Dreams do not guarantee results. Execution matters. Consistency matters. Discipline matters, because the person who consistently does the work will eventually pass the person who only talks about doing the work. You need to understand that. There are people right now who are more talented than you. There are people who may have more resources than you. There are people who may have started earlier than you. There are people who may have more connections than you. There are people who may have more money than you. So what? Your responsibility is not to become somebody else. Your responsibility is to become the strongest version of yourself. And the strongest version of yourself is not created through comfort. It is created through challenge. It is created through repetition. It is created through discipline. You cannot build a powerful life with weak habits. You cannot build a strong future with a careless present. You cannot continuously choose comfort and expect extraordinary results. At some point, you have to make a decision. You have to decide that your future is more important than your temporary feelings. That sentence can change your life. Your future is more important than your temporary feelings. Read that again in your mind. Your future is more important than your temporary feelings. Because there will be mornings when you don't feel like getting up. There will be afternoons when you don't feel like working. There will be evenings when you're exhausted. There will be days when your confidence disappears. There will be moments when the goal feels too far away, and on those days, your feelings will ask you to stop. Discipline will ask you to continue. That is the battle. Not everybody is going to understand your discipline. Some people will call you obsessed. Some people will say you work too much. Some people will tell you to relax. Some people will tell you that you're taking things too seriously, and you have to be careful about listening to people who have no commitment to the future you're trying to build. Because people who are comfortable with average may not understand somebody who is chasing extraordinary. You have to know what you are building. You have to know why you are doing it. You have to know what your goal means to you. Because when your reason is strong enough, you become willing to endure things that other people avoid. You become willing to wake up early. You become willing to sacrifice entertainment. You become willing to say no. You become willing to spend less time seeking approval and more time developing yourself. You become willing to work quietly. And that quiet work is powerful. Because while everyone else is announcing what they are going to do, you are actually doing it. While everyone else is posting plans, you are building habits. While everyone else is talking about the future, you are creating it. You don't need to announce every move. You don't need everybody to know what you're working on. You don't need applause every morning. You need discipline. There is something powerful about learning to work without recognition. When nobody praises you, you keep working. When nobody notices, you keep working. When nobody understands, you keep working. When the results are slow, you keep working. When the progress is invisible, you keep working. Because you understand something that most people don't. Results are often delayed. The work you do today may not reward you today. The decision you make today may not change your life tomorrow. The hour you spend learning today may not make you successful tomorrow. The workout you complete today may not transform your body tomorrow. The sacrifice you make today may not produce immediate results, but that doesn't mean the work is wasted. Seeds don't become trees overnight. Progress doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes you are growing before you can see the growth. Sometimes you are becoming stronger before you feel stronger. Sometimes the foundation is being built before anything rises above the surface. That is why discipline requires patience. You have to keep going when there is no immediate reward. You have to trust the process without needing constant evidence. And that's hard. That's why most people don't do it. Most people want immediate results. They want to work for a week and see transformation. They want to practice for a month and become exceptional. They want to start a business and become successful immediately. They want to change their life without changing their habits. But life doesn't work that way. You have to earn your transformation. You have to repeat the right actions long enough for them to become part of you. You have to train your mind to stop asking, how quickly can I get there? And start asking, what must I do today? That question changes everything. What must I do today? Not next month, not someday. Today, what can I improve today? What can I learn today? What can I finish today? What can I sacrifice today? What can I do today the future version of me will thank me for? That's how discipline works. It brings your attention back to the present because your future is not built in the future. Your future is built through today's decisions. Every day you are voting for the person you are becoming. When you choose to exercise, you're voting for strength. When you choose to study, you're voting for knowledge. When you choose to save, you're voting for financial stability. When you choose to practice, you're voting for mastery. When you choose to keep your promises, you're voting for character. When you choose discipline over distraction, you're voting for your future. And when you make enough of those decisions, your identity begins to change. You stop saying, I am trying to become disciplined. You become a disciplined person. That's a major difference. Don't just chase discipline as something you occasionally do. Build discipline into who you are. Become the person who finishes. Become the person who shows up. Become the person who keeps promises. Become the person who doesn't need somebody standing over you. Become the person who can be trusted with your own potential. Because that's what discipline really gives you. It gives you self-trust, and self-trust is powerful. When you know that you will do what you said you would do, your confidence changes. You don't need to constantly convince yourself that you're capable. You have evidence. You have history. You remember all the mornings you got up. You remember all the difficult days you survived. You remember all the times you wanted to quit but continue. You remember all the moments when you could have taken the easy path but chose the harder one. That becomes confidence, not empty confidence. Earn confidence. The kind of confidence that says, I don't know exactly how this will work out, but I know I can handle the work. That's different. You don't need to believe that everything will be easy. You need to believe that you can keep moving when it isn't. That's strength. That's discipline. And there will be times when discipline requires you to say no. No to distractions. No to unnecessary arguments. No to people who constantly pull you away from your goals. No to wasting hours. No to habits that destroy your energy. No to the version of yourself that always wants comfort. Understand this, every yes has a cost. When you say yes to distraction, you are saying no to focus. When you say yes to procrastination, you are saying no to progress. When you say yes to comfort every time, you are saying no to growth. When you say yes to excuses, you are saying no to responsibility. You can't say yes to everything and still have enough energy for what matters. You have to choose. And sometimes your greatest act of discipline will be saying no to something good because you are committed to something greater. That's maturity. That's focus. That's sacrifice. You have to understand that discipline isn't about making your life miserable. It's about giving yourself direction. Without discipline, your attention goes everywhere. Your energy goes everywhere. Your time goes everywhere. Your emotions control your decisions. Your impulses control your behavior. And then one day you look around and wonder why you haven't moved forward. It's because movement without direction isn't progress. You can be busy all day and still accomplish nothing meaningful. You can spend hours doing things and still avoid the one thing that matters. Discipline forces you to prioritize. It asks what matters, what doesn't, what needs to be done, what can wait, what must I sacrifice, what deserves my attention, and then it makes you act accordingly. That is why discipline is freedom. Some people think discipline restricts you, but real discipline gives you freedom. If you control your spending, you gain financial freedom. If you control your health habits, you gain physical freedom. If you control your schedule, you gain time freedom. If you control your attention, you gain mental freedom. If you control your impulses, you gain emotional freedom. Discipline isn't a prison. Discipline is the key, but you have to use it. And using it means doing what others won't. When others sleep and you get up. When others waste an hour, you use it. When others complain about the difficulty, you study the difficulty. When others quit because progress is slow, you stay. When others need constant motivation, you develop systems. When others chase shortcuts, you build fundamentals. When others look for someone to blame, you look for something to improve. That is how you separate yourself. Not through one giant act, through thousands of small decisions. That's the part nobody sees. They see the result. They don't see the repetition. They see the confidence. They don't see the doubt you overcame. They see the achievement. They don't see the years of preparation. They see the performance. They don't see the practice. They see the finish line. They don't see the miles. That's why you cannot compare your chapter to somebody else's highlight. You don't know what they sacrificed. You don't know what they endured. You don't know how long they worked. And you don't need to know. You have your own race. Run it. You have your own mountain. Climb it. You have your own mission. Complete it. Stop looking sideways. Focus forward, because comparison can destroy discipline. You start looking at someone else's progress and questioning your own. You start thinking you're behind. You start rushing. You start taking shortcuts. You start abandoning your process. Don't do that. Your job is to keep building, keep improving, keep learning, keep moving. If you're moving forward, you're winning. Maybe slowly, maybe quietly, maybe without recognition, but you're moving, and that's what matters. There will be days when you feel like nothing is happening. Those days are important because discipline is easiest when the reward is visible. The real test comes when the reward is invisible. When you're doing the work and nobody knows. When you're improving and nobody notices. When you're sacrificing and nobody understands. When you're building and nobody believes. That's when you discover whether you actually want the goal. Because everybody wants the destination. Discipline asks whether you're willing to travel the road. And the road is long, the road has setbacks, the road has mistakes, the road has uncertainty, the road has rejection, the road has boredom. Yes, boredom. People don't talk enough about boredom. Sometimes success is boring. Sometimes discipline is boring. Doing the same fundamental actions repeatedly isn't always exciting. But mastery is built through repetition. You don't become excellent by constantly searching for something new. You become excellent by repeatedly doing the important things well. Practice. Repeat, correct, repeat, improve, repeat. That cycle is discipline. And eventually, what was once difficult becomes normal. That's when you know you're changing. The things you once had to force yourself to do become habits. You stop negotiating. You just execute. That's the goal. You want discipline to become automatic. You want waking up to become normal. You want working to become normal. You want exercising to become normal. You want learning to become normal. You want keeping your word to become normal. You want doing difficult things to become normal. Because once discipline becomes normal, your life starts changing. But you have to start. And starting means making a decision. Not a perfect plan, not a 10-year strategy, a decision. Decide that you are done betraying your own potential. Decide that you are done saying tomorrow. Decide that you are done waiting for motivation. Decide that you are done blaming circumstances. Decide that you are ready to work. Then work. Your first day may be difficult. Your first week may be difficult. Your first month may be difficult. That's okay. Difficulty is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. Sometimes difficulty is evidence that you're doing something meaningful. You are stretching yourself. You are leaving familiar territory. You are asking more from yourself. Of course, it feels uncomfortable. Growth often does, but don't confuse discomfort with danger. Sometimes discomfort is simply the feeling of becoming more capable. Learn to tolerate it. Learn to sit with it. Learn to work through it. You don't need to eliminate discomfort. You need to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's a major part of discipline. Because the person who can tolerate temporary discomfort can build things that other people cannot. You can study while tired. You can train when you don't feel excited. You can work when there is no applause. You can save money while others spend. You can practice while others entertain themselves. You can stay focused while others become distracted. And those decisions compound. That's the word I want you to remember. Compound. Small actions compound. One disciplined day becomes a disciplined week. A disciplined week becomes a disciplined month. A disciplined month becomes a disciplined year. And a disciplined year can change the direction of your life. Don't underestimate what 1 year of serious focus can do. Don't underestimate what 2 years can do. Don't underestimate what 5 years can do. But you have to start with today. You cannot live 5 disciplined years today. You can only live this day. So win this day, then win tomorrow, then win the next one. Stop making the mountain so large in your mind. Focus on the next step. What is the next right action? Take it, then ask again. What is the next right action? Take it. That's how big things get done. One action at a time, one decision at a time, one day at a time. And when you fail, you will fail sometimes. Don't turn failure into identity. You failed at something. That does not mean you are a failure. You made a mistake. That does not mean you are a mistake. You lost. That does not mean you are finished. Discipline means you learn, you adjust, you return, you keep going. Some of the strongest people you will ever meet are not people who never failed. They are people who learned how to recover. They learned how to take a hit and continue. They learned how to face disappointment without surrendering their future. That's what you need. You need resilience. And resilience is developed through disciplined action. Every time you keep going through difficulty, you teach your brain, I can handle hard things. Every time you complete something you wanted to abandon, you teach yourself, I can finish. Every time you delay gratification, you teach yourself, I can control my impulses. Every time you choose your goal over distraction, you teach yourself, my future matters. That's how you become mentally stronger, not through slogans, through action. So when tomorrow comes, you don't feel like getting up. Remember your reason. Remember what you're building. Remember who you're trying to become. Remember that somebody else is willing to do the work you keep avoiding. Someone else is practicing. Someone else is learning. Someone else is improving. Someone else is getting better. And you don't have to compete with them, but you do have to compete with the version of yourself that wants to remain comfortable. That's your real competition. Yesterday's version of you, the version that procrastinated, the version that made excuses, the version that wasted time, the version that quit too soon, the version that waited for permission. You don't have to destroy that person with shame. You simply have to outgrow that person through discipline. Every day, become a little stronger. Every day, become a little wiser. Every day, become a little more focused. Every day, keep one more promise. And eventually, you'll look back and realize you are no longer the person who needed constant motivation. You became the person who simply does the work. That's power. That's freedom. That's discipline. And that is what it means to do what others won't. You don't need to be extraordinary every day. You need to be consistent. There will be days when your performance is average. There will be days when you don't feel powerful. There will be days when you don't feel inspired. Do the work anyway. Because the professional doesn't only perform when inspired. The disciplined person doesn't only act when excited. The committed person doesn't only show up when the conditions are perfect. They show up because showing up is part of who they are. That's the standard you need to build. Raise your standard. Stop asking, what can I get away with? But ask, what am I capable of? Stop asking, what's the minimum? Ask, what would excellence require? Stop asking, how little can I do? But ask, what would happen if I gave this everything I have? That mindset changes your results. You don't have to work yourself into exhaustion. You don't have to destroy your health. You don't have to live without rest. Discipline isn't mindless punishment. Real discipline includes knowing when to work, when to recover, when to learn, when to say no, and when to reset. The goal isn't to burn yourself out. The goal is to build yourself up. You want sustainable discipline. You want habits you can maintain. You want a system that allows you to keep moving for years because you're not trying to win one day. You're trying to build a life, and building a life takes patience. It takes consistency. It takes standards. It takes sacrifice. It takes discipline. There will always be someone who chooses the easy road. Let them. There will always be someone who wants shortcuts. Let them. There will always be someone who wants immediate gratification. Let them. Your responsibility is to stay committed to your road because shortcuts often produce short-term results. Foundations produce lasting results. Build the foundation. Build your character. Build your habits. Build your knowledge. Build your skills. Build your patience. Build your discipline. Then let the results come. Don't chase applause. Chase improvement. Don't chase attention. Chase mastery. Don't chase validation. Chase excellence. Because when you become excellent, attention becomes a byproduct. When you become disciplined, confidence becomes a byproduct. When you become consistent, progress becomes a byproduct. And when you become patient, opportunities become easier to recognize. You don't have to chase everything. You have to become ready. That's another gift of discipline. Discipline prepares you. When opportunity arrives, you're ready. When the challenge arrives, you're ready. When responsibility arrives, you're ready. When the moment arrives, you're ready. Because you have been preparing when nobody was watching. That's why you do the work. Not because you know exactly when the reward will arrive. You do the work because you want to be ready when it does. Imagine what would happen if you spent the next year seriously disciplined. Imagine waking up every day with a clear priority. Imagine spending less time distracted. Imagine improving your health. Imagine learning a valuable skill. Imagine becoming financially responsible. Imagine reading consistently. Imagine training your mind. Imagine keeping your promises. Imagine removing unnecessary distractions. Imagine focusing on one meaningful goal. Imagine doing that for 12 months. You would not be the same person. And that's the opportunity in front of you. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect environment. You don't need everybody to support you. You need a decision. And then you need repetition. That's it. Decision, action, repetition, decision, action, repetition. That's how transformation happens. So when you hear the words, do what others won't, don't think it means doing something impossible. It means doing the simple things consistently. It means showing up. It means finishing. It means preparing. It means being responsible. It means choosing long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. It means controlling your attention. It means protecting your time. It means honoring your commitments. It means continuing after the excitement disappears. Those simple things become powerful when most people refuse to do them consistently. You don't have to be a genius. You have to be committed. You don't have to know everything. You have to be willing to learn. You don't have to be fearless. You have to keep moving. You don't have to be perfect. You have to be persistent. And if you can develop that mindset, you become dangerous to mediocrity, because mediocrity depends on inconsistency. It depends on distraction. It depends on excuses. It depends on people quitting early. So don't quit early. Stay when it's boring. Stay when it's difficult. Stay when the results are slow. Stay when nobody notices. Stay when doubt arrives. Stay when the road becomes longer than you expected. Stay. Because sometimes the only difference between the person who succeeds and the person who quits is that one person stayed in the process longer. You don't know how close you are. That's why you cannot quit based on today's results. You might be 1 month away. You might be 1 year away. You might need to change direction. You might need to improve your strategy. But don't confuse changing the strategy with abandoning the mission. If something isn't working, learn. Adjust. Try again. Discipline doesn't mean blindly repeating mistakes. Discipline means being committed enough to learn. Be stubborn about the goal and flexible about the method. That's wisdom. And remember, your life will eventually reflect your standards. If you accept constant distraction, distraction becomes your lifestyle. If you accept laziness, laziness becomes your habit. If you accept excuses, excuses become your identity. But if you raise your standards, your behavior has to rise with them. Tell yourself, I finish what I start. I keep my word. I protect my time. I do difficult things. I learn from failure. I don't need constant applause. I don't quit because